We field a lot of questions about EDI. What is EDI? How do I configure it? Why would I use it? EDI is an acronym that stands for Electronic Data Interchange. It allows retailers and vendors to communicate with each other electronically. It's commonly used to send purchase orders and receive invoices. However, it can also be used for additional tasks such as cost or price changes and new item feeds. When configured for sending purchase orders, after you've completed an order in the Fast Track system, a user would simply click Send Order and it would be electronically sent to the vendor and applied in their system without any manual input on their side. Conversely, when configured for receiving invoices, EDI invoice files are retrieved and displayed for processing. Once processed, the invoice data is available without human input and can be applied to inventory. As a whole, EDI reduces input errors and reduces time spent on purchase orders and invoices. Let's take a look on how to set it all up. All EDI settings are location and vendor specific. They're accessible under Maintenance, Vendors. From here, choose the EDI Setup tab. This screen shows all the current EDI configurations, and you can create a new one or edit an existing one. Let's create a new configuration by clicking the Add New button. We must first select the location and vendor for the EDI configuration. In Invoice Settings, we'll choose the appropriate format. This is dictated by the vendor, as they will send a file in one of our predefined formats. If you are unsure of the format to use, there are samples available to view and download. You can compare the sample with the file the vendor sent you. Each sample will explain the details of the format and what is expected. Different formats have different options that are available, such as what's the account number to use, whether or not to filter when we retrieve files, and if so, what is the filter, if we're allowed to add unknown items via the feed, can we get the invoice number from the file, are we ignoring kit lines, etc., etc. In our example, we'll enter our account number, and we're using Format 2. Finally, we'll need to set up the connection settings. All EDI uses some variation of FTP to transport the files. You can choose an existing FTP connection or create a new one. In this, we must give the FTP connection a name. We'll call ours FTx Demo. Choose a method, FTP, SFTP, or FTP Active. Choose a port, the FTP site, the username, and finally the password. All of these credentials will be supplied to you by the vendor. Once the credentials are entered, press Save. After your FTP information has been configured, the only additional option is whether or not you are using a subfolder. In our case, we are, and our subfolder name is Demo Invoice. Once again, this information is available from your vendor. Order settings is virtually identical to invoice settings. Like before, you'll choose a format based on what the vendor has provided. Again, samples are available for each format to allow you to compare them to what the vendor is expecting. Different formats also have different parameters: account number, warehouse number, naming style, ID, and prefix. Your vendor will inform you if these settings are needed and what the expected values are. You can then choose the FTP connection to use, either the same one as invoices or you can create a new one. In our case, we'll be using the same connection. We can also specify if the FTP requires a subfolder. In our case, we will be using a subfolder, Demo Order. Once configured and saved, EDI is ready to use for the specified vendor and location. To send a purchase order electronically, we can navigate to Inventory, Reorder. Once here, any closed orders can be selected and sent from the summary screen by choosing the order, clicking More, and send order via EDI. Once sent, you'll receive a message notifying you success or failure. Alternatively, you can drill into the order to see the details and send from the top navigation bar. If an order has already been sent and you attempt to send it again, the system will inform you of this and ask you if you really want to resend it. There are also EDI logs available showing the details of the transmission. To receive invoices electronically, navigate to Inventory, Receiving, and then choose the EDI Import tab. From here, we'll select Location and our vendor, and then click Search Invoices. This will populate a list of EDI invoices from the FTP site we configured earlier. To process an invoice, click it on the left. You can also verify the preview details, enter your invoice number, optionally change the date, and click Process Invoice. Once processed, you can go directly to the invoice, view any changes, and apply.